thanking the media for being here. We appreciate coverage. Uh, the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice and the family of Joseph Roberts have already submitted a letter to Congresswoman Sheila Lee Jackson Lee, to request the U.S. Attorney to immediately open an investigation into the horrendous and of excessive force against Roberts. The injuries that were subjective, not only is this horrendous, it's inhuman. I will let other members of the coalition that have been working on this case to speak as well. Right now, before I'll come back, but I would like for her to say a few words in regards to, after calling us into the request, she has the mic.
Start out with your name.
Sonia Lewis.
And your last name, is it L-E-W?
L-E-W. As a parent, I just would like to ask the question, what could my son have done to deserve this type of mistreatment and abuse from the Houston Police Department?
What are some of the particular things that transpired that really have you upset and need answers to?
Them running him over with the vehicles and the beating and the mistreat he's receiving.
Now, is he out or is he incarcerated in the hospital?
In jail.
And first of all, if we could just start out with your name, sir.
My name is Shelby Stewart. I am a civil rights activist with the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice. I'm also a retired Houston Police Sergeant.
Did you have something you want to say first?
Yes. As usual, we have more questions than answers. This young man had a broken pelvis. He was transported from the hospital to the jail in a police van. As far as I know, and I believe that is against policy. And we're wondering, did the officers that did not follow this policy, are they still on the Houston Police Department? The mother wants answers, the community wants answers, and we want answers from the Houston Police Department.
What is your reaction when you see something like this and what you've heard?
I think that after what happened to this lady's son, that there were many things that the officers that showed up that handled him did not do properly. The question is did the police department do the proper investigation and do what they were supposed to do to these officers who did not do the right thing?
Now, is it something that you view that policy was not followed as well as maybe excessive force or excessive aggression for this young man to be not followed?
Well, if the young man got ran over by a car twice, that tells me excessive force. The fact that he wasn't transported properly by policy tells me that it's possible that he could have been injured further in the ride from the hospital to the jail. And what happened to those that decided to put him in a police van instead of transporting him properly?
Let's pause a minute.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I apologize. I
That's
know you said
okay.
you can't say a lot. Can you tell us what you're feeling, or just tell out your emotional state? Do you mind talking about
We'll lower that down
emotionally
for
what's
you, man.
what's it been
I
like?
get it.
Although you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure we get it good.
You want to come back in a minute? Okay. Augie.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Augie Pinedo. I'm a Latino activist, member of the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice. This incident here is something that affects all of us. It affects all minorities, and not just minorities, even white people. The police misuse of force. This is something that we have spoken with the police chief consistently, and they have failed to do anything about it. Now, this young man was run over twice, once in 2014, and now a few weeks ago, June the 2nd, he was run over again with a police vehicle, and then taken to the hospital, and then they let him out, still suffering egregious injuries. Now, this has to stop. Now, the recent incident in South Carolina, and it showed us that this country will no longer tolerate bigotry and racism and abuse. And even the incident with Donald Trump, where he put down Mexican Americans, has resulted in a backlash against them. This country has no longer tolerance for bigotry and racism. And so we're asking Ms. Sheila Jackson Lee to intervene and speak to the Attorney General, Ms. Loretta Lynch, and have them investigate this case as well as 40 other cases pertaining to HPD.
Mr. Augie, could we get the proper spelling first and last name so we get it?
Yeah, it's Agustin, Agustin. Last name is Pinedo.
And you are.
I'm a member of the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice and the Latino activists.
Good afternoon. I'm Cynthia Cole, and I'm part of the coalition, the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice. I am the executive director for AFSCME Local 1550. We've been before the media many times, and we've continuously asked this question, and that question is why? What could anyone's son possibly have done that was so egregious that you run him over with a car, not once, but twice? I'm a mother. There are mothers out there. What emotions do you think are going to come up? Where does the line get drawn? Somebody answer that question. Respect humanity somewhere, please. You ask this woman to explain how she feels. How would you feel if your loved one was run down by a vehicle and you received no answers and you received no explanation?
Whatever happened with the 2014 incident? I know you guys had a news conference back then. Did anything ever come of that?
There were some responses that we did receive. As far as the outcome, we were not privy to. Most of the things in which we come before the media and ask the community to act on is to raise a level of awareness. We want to see some justice. We want to see some response. Please give an explanation. Don't hide behind a policy or a procedure, because I'm pretty sure the handbook doesn't say take your vehicle, aim it toward the person, and run it down.
And this young man, he's still in jail today, right?
Okay?
And can you tell Mom, can you talk to us a little bit about how you're feeling and when you talk to your son, how he's doing?
This being said, it's what it is. I ask that question every day why. He's not talking well. He don't talk to me. I just don't understand.
And forgive me because since we came late, we're some sort of stuck in traffic. But you're saying that did the police? Was he the one they were after, or were they after a different person? So they have the wrong person, and yet he's still facing charges. I'm a little confused about. Well, what do you know on that, or what do you not know on that? Because
Okay, let me kind
go
of.
ahead. Go ahead.
This incident did not happen once. This latest incident, back in 2014, almost a year ago, my understanding that he was riding in another car, and the one that was wanted for tickets or so was a friend that had given him a ride. He raised his hands, and then he got run over by the patrol car. The pictures detail some of the injuries, broken pelvis, and other interesting things. She's had to live through those ordeals. Come back in June the 2nd, he was knocked down by an HPD sergeant used his police car to knock him off a four-wheeler. Now, the four-wheeler was obtained because of the previous injuries. He started to have convulsions. He was taken to Memorial Hermann Hospital, and a few days later, allegedly, he was prematurely discharged from the hospital and booked in the Houston City Jail. Officers admitted at the scene that Mr. Robert was a case of mistaken identity. I will, like I said, we got other people speaking on this, but for the benefit of those that didn't get it, we have already filed a request to the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, which is in the Judiciary Committee in the House. We have asked that she immediately request that the U.S. Attorney initiate an immediately independent federal investigation in this horrendous case. Also, all the way back to 2010 on above, we have filed over 40 cases with the Justice Department. Some, as you remember, like the man that double empathy that was killed on a wheelchair, and others. We're disappointed that the Justice Department and the FBI have not come forward to notify us of the results.
Right.
It is alleged, and there's a report, that the FBI has the lowest rate of investigations or results. I don't have the report before me, I didn't create it, than other parts of the country. And so, when you have 288 cases that gone before the grand jury, and officers no bill, Houston has a bigger problem than all the other states and cities where an outbreak of violence took place. Mind you, our organization and organizations are nonviolent. We're not advocated, but our message has been going on hollowed ears for too long. And it's a community that should take responsibility on elected officials that have been negligent about doing anything other than we were successful in changing the grand jury system in Texas, thanks to the hard work of the community and members of this coalition. I just wanted to bring you up a little update and history, and I will continue to let the other members speak now.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Pastor Harrison with Just As Yard Ministries here in Houston, Texas. And I wish I could say that I'm honored to be here this evening, but actually I'm embarrassed to be a part of the city of Houston. I'm embarrassed to be a part of a society where police officers hold court on the street, where the judicial system is just non-effective, where court is held on the street and our young men and women are being brutally assaulted with vehicles, not once, but twice. I'm embarrassed right at Independence Day to be an American citizen, where we live in a country where this can be ignored, and our federal investigative units will not come down and see what's going on. I'm here this morning to plead to our Congresswoman, Miss Sheila Jackson Lee, to come down to Houston and find out what's going on. I'm here this morning to plead to our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, come down to Houston and see what's going on. The people are tired. The people are tired of sending their children to the store and the children not returning and getting a phone call that the children are mangled and abused in hospitals. We have gotten to the point where simply being a suspect, simply being a person of interest opens the door to not a deadly force. It opens the door to just outrageous ridicule. And the people of Houston, the people of this community, the people of this country is simply tired and fed up. We have a release of a threat. We have a release of a threat out all over the internet from a foreign terrorist fraction, ISIS or whatnot. But I say this morning that there's another threat, a release of another threat, released right here in the streets of Houston. There's a threat right here. Our children are afraid of police. Parents are afraid of police. We have business owners that are afraid of police. I'm a pastor and I'm afraid of the police here. And something has to be done.
Hey.
I'll just wrap up with a few comments. I have, like we started out today asking questions, why? And that's what I have on my mind. Why don't we know what happened in this case? Why haven't we heard from HPD? Why haven't we heard from anybody about what happened here and why this man who supposedly was mistaken identity was treated this way twice? So that's one question. Why don't we have answers there? The second one is, why hasn't the DOJ come to Houston? As Johnny mentioned, we've had 40 plus cases that we have submitted. Why have they not come? Who's holding it back in Houston? Is it the mayor? Is it the police chief? Is it our Congress people holding them back? Who's holding them back from coming here? This has been going on for a long time. We need answers. The people have the right to answers. We need an investigation by the DOJ just like other cities have. And we need it now. Thank you.
What's your name again?
Dave Atwood. I'm with the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice.
And your last name is spelled so.
Atwood, A-T-W-O-O-D.
This is from the June incident, or this is from 2014?
That's the first one.
April of 2014.
Okay, so this is a 2014.
Nothing relevant to what just happened in June, right? You don't have any photos or anything.
Have it on tape.
We actually have a video of this incident, and I'm not sure if the legal team is ready to release it yet. I think we want to hold it, to have our own attorneys produce it at the proper time. But we have this incident on accident, and so there can be no a statement released by the police department where they feared for their own safety. When you see this video, you will understand the outrage and the hurt of this mother. My prayer is this evening that no mother should have to look at her child being ran over and beaten as this young man was here on video. I'm just embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be standing here on the steps of City Hall this morning. I'm embarrassed for this mother.
And so we can possibly get copies of that after Monday or sometime?
After the mother and the coalition has spoken with the attorneys, I'm sure that the video will be released. But as of right now, the video is not being released due to we want to speak with the attorneys first.
Did y'all file an internal affairs
Is it
complaint
what?
already? Did you file an internal affairs complaint?
It wouldn't allow her to file the internal affairs as of yet.
This mother has faced so many obstacles that
Okay, well, can somebody speak to the internal affairs issue? So you haven't
Okay.
filed it, or tell me
that
what's going on?
you went to file.
Can she speak to
Come
it?
on.
I mean, no offense, Johnny.
No problem. You went to file, and what happened?
They said my son is old enough to file for himself. I can't make the report because he's an adult.
So, and he has not filed.
How can you?
And how do you explain? Because there are some people who are going to look and say, well, it's a mistaken identity. Why did he face, the weapons charge and this other charge, and he has, a criminal history? So why should we believe him over the police? What do you say when people say that?
I want to answer that question for her. It does, as I said before, simply being a suspect does not subject you to the type of abuse that this young man was subjected to. So whether it's a weapons charge, a murder charge, armed robbery charge, whatever type of charge you are suspected of, there are policies that the Houston Police Department have in place to subdue suspects, and they do not involve repeatedly being ran over by a police car. So to answer your question, here's what I say for those that would ask this mother about why didn't he face the charges. He cannot face the charges because he's laying in the Harris County Jail with a broken pelvis and has not received medical treatment. He cannot file an internal affairs complaint because he is laying in the Harris County Jail with a broken pelvis. And I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that there's no questions, or there's no answers for this mother.
But
Let's just be clear. This press conference is about the type of force that was used. We can't necessarily have any comments in reference to what was the prior history, arrest history, or whatever else. This is about whether or not, and it's real easy for people to judge and say, well, you deserve that. No. There's a democracy. The democracy means that you are innocent until proven guilty. Not, I see you in the street, I'm going to chase after you, and I'm going to run you down with a car. So the focus is on, was there excessive force used in this situation? And the pictures, this mother's grief speaks for itself.
Let me explain something. If there has been a situation where a policy has been violated, she doesn't have to make a complaint. The department is supposed to investigate those things. And if we look through both of these cases, there probably should have been an internal affairs investigation in both without them filing anything.
But let's make it clear. The internal affairs of the Houston Department has been used as a buffer, as a public relation firm. It has even been used against police officers that we have filed on behalf of them with the Justice Department and charged with untruthfulness when they have reported unethical and discrimination to the higher ups. People do not trust the internal affairs. And so they have had to turn to the Justice Department. That's why we moved to change the grand jury. So if we're going to start to rebuild trust, it's got to start with City Council and probably the new incoming elected officials. But the public is no longer going to tolerate and stand by for business as usual.
Ivan, are you just watching or you got something to say?
Yeah.
That's the issue. I don't work for you.
Yeah. Well, okay, you can do it. This is a representative. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ivan Sanchez, field representative for Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. Congresswoman has been briefed on this case, and upon arriving to Washington, D.C., as the ranking member of the Subcommittee of Crime, Terrorism, Homeland Security and Investigations, the Congresswoman supports the Greater Houston Coalition for Justice and Mr. Johnny Mata. We will collaborate on this investigation. Thank you.
Spell your first and last name so we get it right.
Ivan Sanchez, I-B-A-N, Sanchez, S-A-N-C-H.
Make based on consultation with attorneys, and she has asked us for assistance, and we're acting on her behalf. And we want to thank the media for being here, and we want to continue pursuing such a bad case.